that I could feel it in every cell of my body. It was such an invigorating experience. I felt like I was about to like fly because every cell in my body was vibrating so hard. And all I could think when this was happening is how forgetful we are as human beings. We forget how much power we have because we're told all the time by everyone that you're nothing, you mean nothing, you are small, you are little, you have no power, you have to look down and look and keep walking, and you have to just beat yourself up, and you have to know your limits. And so as this is happening to me, I started like just remembering what we all know at all times, that we are powerful, and there's no limit to our power. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Soulful Intuitive. Today's topic is energy and vibration. Before I start, I want to ask you guys to watch the video, and at the end, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and like and share it with your friends whom you think would like the topic and benefit from this conversation. As we all know, one of Tesla's infamous quotes was, "Everything's vibration and everything's energy." I had an experience on Saturday after work. As I have discussed in my previous episodes, I do suffer from lower back problems and chronic pain, and I have pursued many avenues, from osteopath to chiropractor to physiotherapist to energy healing and therapy and acupuncture and Reiki. And I will not stop until I find the real solution to my problems. But I was recommended by a friend to go participate in this breathwork workshop by a shaman. Her name is Jo. And I was putting it off because I just didn't want to do something after work, because usually I'm really tired after work, and Saturdays for hairstylists are always busy days. So I just didn't want to do it. But I found out that two of my clients have signed up with the same shaman, and I just went ahead and registered the night before. So basically, all you had to do was to show up with your yoga mat, pillow, water, a blanket, and refrain from any mood-altering substances like marijuana or alcohol or caffeine 24 hours prior, or any mood stabilizer or medication. So I was kind of nervous because I had heard about breath work, to like not a 3-minute breath work that I do with my somatic therapist, but the breath work that you do for an hour. And I know, and I have heard and read about it, that when you do severe breathing in and breathing out, your body secretes DMT, which is the main ingredient of plant medicine, like ayahuasca, and the other ones that basically do the same thing, just a different approach. So having done ayahuasca in the past, I know that ayahuasca is a journey, and it's not recreational. It is hard work, and you go in there and you have to be open to what Mother Ayahuasca will have in the store for you based on your intention. And I was told by this shaman that you have to write down your intentions and bring it to the session with you, which I did. And I had a long list of intentions, but basically, if I were to narrow it down to one word, it would be healing. But I wanted to release anger and trauma and sadness and just all the pent-up feeling that I have stored in my body in the past couple of decades of my life, and I'm not aware of the fact that they're there, but my physical body is letting me know every day that it is there, and I will have to at some point express it and find the modality that works for me. So I went in there and I was nervous, and the session started, and she spent the first hour and a half of the session basically talk about energy and manifestation and law of attraction and all this stuff that we have heard, or I hope that the audience of this show are familiar with these topics. As I just was being goofy, I told my friends that, we've all watched Oprah. So she brought them mainstream. She brought it online. She brought it on air, and then you know, struck up our curiosities, and then we went and read books about it, and so on and so forth. But anyway, after an hour and a half of introduction and basically a little bit of a lecture, we all laid down, and she started a music, very calming music, which I'm sure she has selected one by one on purpose. And as I laid down, I realized that my back pain that was killing me, because everybody was sitting on their yoga mat on a tiled floor, which was cold and hard. And people who've done it before, they had brought in extra blankets to make it a bit more comfortable. But in this case, I had no idea. So I just only had my thin yoga mat, and that was it. And then I had a blanket to cover me because the room was cold. And I'm usually cold anyway. So I was like, oh, this is going to be torture. I hate this. She keeps talking. Why don't we get to it? And I was just being annoyed because it was a long day. I was already tired and hungry, and I had other obligations that I had to attend to after that. So I was not in the mindset to be patient. And as I laid down, to my surprise, my back pain completely went away. And this is even before we started breathing in and out. And I felt like the floor was vibrating. But my brain, my logical mind told me that, oh, it's because probably the furnace room is close by, and that's the vibration of the furnace that I'm feeling in the floor. So as we started breathing in and out, and being guided by her, because at some point she would ask you to hold your breath and then release, but it was breathing in and out of your mouth, and that was the technique that she wanted to pick for that night, because there's so many different techniques for breath work. And I started feeling like my base chakra, and for those of you who don't know, we have 7 chakras, which are like the energy turbines, I call them, and they're constantly spinning. And the base chakra is actually like very close to your tailbone, and is in charge of grounding us. And when we're not grounded, then we have all kinds of problems. We're like, basically a lot of times we're not even in our body when we're not grounded. But base chakra also provides energy to all the organs around. So basically your sexual organs and your colons, your large intestine, your bladder and your kidneys, and your and in terms of your bones, your vertebrae, it's like your lower back, your hips. And so I started to feel like this turbine in that area, which I call base chakra, started spinning so fast, where I was like feeling jolts of energy just running down my leg, both of them, my legs, and also a little bit up my body, that I could feel it in every cell of my body. It was such an invigorating experience. I felt like I was about to like fly, because every cell in my body was vibrating so hard. And all I could think when this was happening is how forgetful we are as human beings. We forget how much power we have, because we're told all the time by everyone that you're nothing, you mean nothing, you are small, you are little, you have no power, you have to look down and look and keep walking, and you have to just beat yourself up, and you have to know your limits. And so as this is happening to me, I started like just remembering what we all know. at all times that we are powerful, and there is no limit to our power. It's just what we tell ourselves, that this is my limit, or we've been told by an abusive partner, or unaware parents, or and also authority figures in our society, that we need to know our limits. And when this jolt of energy was coming in my body from ether, I felt my power. I felt so powerful. And I started crying. And it was because you had to cover your eyes. The room was dark, but it was okay. Like, she wanted everybody to just cover their eyes because you want to concentrate on you, because this is a room, I think 16 or 17 people are there, and people were crying, people were laughing, people were panting. Everybody had different intentions for this session. You know, some people just wanted abundance, and some people wanted joy, and some people wanted release, and some people wanted clarity, and some people wanted inspiration. Everybody has a different need at a certain time on their journey. So there were 4 men next, aside from me, at this group, and the rest were females. And I could hear 2 of these men sobbing. And these are the men that you see on the street, and you would have no clue as how emotional they are, because the facade, this mask that most men wear, is very anti-expressive, as if they don't show any sign of expression, because that is understood by our society for men to be weakness. And so I started tearing up, but I wasn't sobbing, but I was getting all these visions of different parts of my life, with my family, with my friends, with my partner, with myself, and how underestimating it is for me to constantly feel little. I underestimate myself. I underestimate my own power. I forget that we're all like electrical appliances, that all we have to do is to plug in the power, to plug in the cord into the wall, and then we're connected. And then the turbines will spin, and the most amazing feeling, where I didn't want it to end. Especially, there were times where she would ask the whole workshop to breathe in and hold. And when you were holding, the most insane thing happened, where I was holding, but I didn't feel like I was suffocating. I felt like I was just elevating. And then I remembered I had that experience with ayahuasca on my first journey with ayahuasca, where I asked Mother Ayahuasca to show me everything. And one of the things that she showed me was how we die. And in many cultures, especially Asian continent, death is viewed as painful, as scary, as torturous, as something that nobody looks forward to. And I grew up with it. I have it at the back of my mind. And she showed me that the moment of death, actually this happens. And we all know that when people are dying, their body secretes like an insane amount of DMT. And so your body, your cells are like just vibrating so high that you forget to breathe. And if I didn't remind myself when I was doing ayahuasca to breathe, I probably would have like not breathed for even much longer. So when I was doing this, the same thing happened. When she would ask us to breathe in, I would have no problem keeping my breath as long as I wanted, because I didn't need oxygen. I was already being charged and being energized by this universe, this universal energy that Tesla wanted to plug into and was not allowed, because he came up with this technology that we didn't need wires for electricity. You can just plug it into the ether. And because the powers that were prominent at his time were already making so much money on copper and wires and the turbines and all these infrastructure for energy that they had already laid down, they didn't want him to go through with it. And they ostracized this genius. However, going back to breath work, was just amazed. And I was also like, as I'm going through this, I'm thinking, oh, I went into this workshop. I really wasn't feeling it. There was a lot of talk before it started, and I already knew all of those things. And for me, it was a little boring. I was tired. I just wanted to like get it over with. I had anxiety about it because I didn't want a certain journey that I had on ayahuasca to be repeated again because it was hard work. I had not prepared for it mentally and physically in order to like go onto that battle that I experienced with ayahuasca. And to my surprise, this was nothing but a recharging session where like my legs that are always numb and my feet that are always cold in that cold room started to heat up, and I just was amazingly full of bliss. I felt so blissful. I felt so calm. I felt so powerful. And that is what the whole purpose of connecting to the universe is all about. You know, in every religion, of every school of thought, there are different approaches. You know, some people can get to that point of bliss by just saying their prayers. Some people do it by meditation. Some people do it by fasting. You know, there's not just one way to get there. And I have tried all of them, and some of them are more successful, some of them aren't. And it really depends on our physiology, it depends on our state of mind, it depends on our upbringing, it depends on what we believe in. Because for some people, I was like watching something on YouTube a couple of months ago, and they were saying that Reiki is magic, is like Reiki is devil's work. And it was so ridiculously just unscientific. It was so hocus pocusy that I laughed, but then I was like, oh, like this video got 500,000 views. So like, I don't understand how we explain certain things out of our understanding by calling it names just because we don't get it. And it's so narrow-minded to pick one road that takes you to a certain place and say all the other roads are null and like they're cul-de-sac, they're not going anywhere. Like, just the beauty of this world is the creator, the universe, is known for diversity. Do you think that this mother nature, this universe, has only found one way to get to enlightenment, to get to the elevated state? That's insane. Do we make electricity only with one way? We use water, we use solar, we use wind, we use nuclear fusion, we use burning coal. And they all end up giving us electricity. How on earth anyone who thinks that their way is the only way to elevation and salvation is going to explain that? It's ridiculous. It is as narrow-minded as calling this vast cosmos that we live in, and we're like a tiny, tiny speckle of a dot of this whole creation, to say that was all created for Earth. And Earth is the only place where elevation and evolution is happening. No. Billions of galaxies, billions of life forms, billions of ways, because the other name of our great creator is diversity creator. We see it in forests, we see it in deserts, we see it in oceans. There's diversity, and so many ways to get energy. Like plants, leaves. Animals eat each other or eat other plants. Fish. Some fish eat fish. Some fish eat other creatures' poop. Some water dwellers just eat plants. Like, we cannot be so narrow-minded. So the reason why vibration is the topic of this episode is because vibration is the reason why everything has come to being. Without vibration, nothing will be. So we have our own vibration, the rocks have their own vibration, the plants have their own vibration. Everything is energy, and energy is vibration. So when you raise your vibration in any way you choose to do so, any way you choose to do so, by being an artist, when artists are creating and they're plugged in to that channel of creation, they're vibrating high. They're not even here. They're just a straw. They're a funnel. So that's how they get recharged. That's why if you take the art and the means of creation and creativity from an artist, that artist will die because they are no longer connected. They're no longer vibrating high. So therefore, when your vibration goes from high to low, the cells in your body that rely on energy and vibration will start malfunctioning, and ultimately you'll die. Simple. And that was my experience. On Saturday, I came home. I was really tired and I had a good night's sleep, which is odd for me. But the next day I was still processing. I could still feel vibration down my legs. I can still feel vibration in my base chakra and even in my solar plexus. And I'm still going through it because the shaman said that in the next couple of days, a lot of feelings will come up. You will feel sad, you will feel happy, you will feel angry. Because as part of healing, what my intentions when I went there was healing. As part of healing is releasing these emotions that are trapped in your body. And these trapped emotions come up in a form of breakout in your face, numbness in your legs, bad odor from your body, pain in your back, problem with your bladder, infections. And these are just manifestation of trapped energy inside of you. And that area of your body that's holding on to that trapped energy cannot function properly. So then, because they're vibrating low, they are very prone to infection because the immune system in that area, because every cell has its own immune system, and then the body collectively has its own immune system. So those cells can no longer fight invasions by, let's say, viruses, bacteria. They no longer can intake and then push it out. They no longer can just maintain their homeostasis, where the cells have to maintain in order to be healthy. So I really enjoyed it. I will definitely do it again, and I will give you guys update on how far it helped me with my healing. I believe in instant healing, but in order to have instant healing, you need to be ready for it. Like one of our friends who came, she didn't really feel anything, but it's because sometimes the healing is happening under the skin, but because maybe you have some disconnection, because maybe your body's not ready for that level of release, then it's a very minuscule change. But even a minuscule change over the course of 10 years, instead of going this way, the minuscule change will get your destination in 10 years to be so different and far from where you would have ended up if you didn't take that minuscule change. So I'm excited today. I feel a lot of energy, and I want to share that energy with you guys. And I want you to know that we are the energy, we are the vibration. And when our vibrations, if we manage to keep it high, synchronicities will happen. Good things that we want to invite into our life come in effortlessly. You know, we run into that person that maybe we had a beef with, or maybe we thought we had a beef with, and then they hug you and they say, "Oh, I lost your number." Boom, resolution. We run into that client that we thought we lost touch with, or they didn't like us, or we really wanted to get a hold of in order to sell them something. We run into them at the grocery store. I mean, the possibilities are infinite. But when your vibration's low, You can't even open your mind. I was just sharing this experience with a friend of mine who needs it. She obviously needs it. She tries very hard from her brain because her approach to fixing herself is very logical. And I've told her so many times, it's time to bring the focus from here to here. And I'm not saying put your brains on hold. I'm saying brain is a software. It only analyzes data. That's it. But heart knows. Heart knows that sometimes 2 plus 2 isn't 4. So I'm telling her that, oh my God, it's so powerful, this and that happened. I could hear people cry. I'm sharing with her what others are going through and how magical this was to see that one's crying, one's yawning, one's screaming, one's laughing. And this is not a one-trick pony. This affects different people differently based on your intentions and based on what needs to be done and what you're ready to do in terms of your body and mind. And all she tells me is, oh my God, I can't be there. If I heard people like freaking out, like or crying or laughing, I would lose my mind. So her brain's already telling her, based on her past experiences, the brain is saying, you are too messed up, you are too traumatized, therefore this is not for you. And the brain always wants to stick to the known. But the problem is, the answer is always in the unknown, not the known. Because if the known was the answer, our problems would have been answered. Our problems would have been solved. So if you are doing something for the past how many years and you're still not resolving the issue, that known approach is not your answer. That known approach is actually your problem. So you need to tap into the unknown. Be brave. Take chance and go and explore. And if it didn't work for you, it doesn't mean that that approach doesn't work. It just means that at that moment of time, it wasn't your cup of tea. Don't write it off as this is bullshit. Don't write it off as this is a fraud. It just didn't work for you. But that doesn't mean that you can't try again. But that doesn't mean that you should just give up. That doesn't mean that you should not look for other modalities, other ways to fix your issues. So I want to share with all of you out there that being negative isn't coming from your brain, because your brain goes back to your life and say, you lost your parents, you had a bad husband, you had a bad girlfriend, your kids had issues, therefore life is bad. And when you're in there constantly, because all of those informations that the brain is giving you has a resonation, like it resonates differently. Therefore, it brings you more of that. But tell the brain, thank you so much for keeping all this file. I'm going to go downstairs to my heart. And I'm going to tap into my heart, because heart is our energy center. Heart is where the hope comes from. Hope doesn't come from here. Hope comes from here. And when the hope comes, the doors will open to you. You just have to be courageous enough to not listen to the brain that says, don't do the unknown. You will get hurt because you got hurt in the past. No. Tell the brain thank you. Tell the heart, sure, I will open the door, even though I don't know what's behind that door. And hopefully the first door is your answer. But if it wasn't, doesn't matter. Keep opening the doors that your heart wants you to open, and then you get your results. And I fight very hard with my brain all the time, because my brain wants to scare me off. That, scarcity, negativity, unworthiness, like all these things, because my brain has all these files on, oh, do you remember here and here that these people made you feel unworthy? Do you remember here and here you were disrespected? Do you remember here and here you were unlucky? Do you remember here and here you were in danger? That's what brain does. Brain's just a huge filing cabinet. And then based on the files, it makes connections. And then it draws conclusions. It doesn't mean those conclusions are right. That's why a lawyer two lawyers go to the court, and one is defending a guilty person and one is defending the victim, and they can both present their argument, and oddly enough, the one who is guilty usually wins, because the lawyer's brain works better, can put these informations together and present to the jury that, see, he's not guilty. That's the power of brain. But the heart knows. The heart knows. And a good judge, if you're a good judge, you know. Because those are just word salads that the lawyers throw at people, and then your brain falls for it. It's like, yeah, you're right. Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C. Yeah, you're right. They're right. Even though they're on camera shooting, they're on camera stabbing. But oh no, but that's like, no, that's not true, because this is the magic of brain. But let's not forget the magic of heart. That's what we should focus on. And I'm going to end this episode on that note, that you vibrate high and you will feel joy and pleasure and synchronicity. You vibrate low and you will be nothing but a victim of your brain. And what your brain does is just put these files together and give you a verdict and give you a case. But that doesn't mean that you should live a life based on what happened in the past. And that's why we're trying to release these emotions, because these emotions also have their own vibration. Therefore, they bring us pain. And when you're in pain, and when you're tired, and when you're hopeless, you don't see the future. So you succumb to that pain. Therefore, your past pain will be present pain and will guarantee your future pain. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later.